Hello, good morning and welcome. This is Sunrise Daily. I'm Ayo Makine and I say welcome to the show. Now, if you check, I don't know what the weather is saying or weatherman is saying where you are, but I can tell you that the weather in Lagos is looking something in the region of 28 degrees this morning, and I don't know, as I said, what it is in your own area, but quite a number of things we have for you this morning. But sure, I'm not alone. Markwe is here. Good morning, Markwe.
Good morning, Ayo. It is 19 degrees Celsius here in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. And, well, while we're yet to see any lights at the main gate of the Federal Capital Territory, at least in the business district, the commercial district of Abuja around Wuse, Ademola, Adetokunbo area, you can see that the Christmas lights are already beginning to come on. So it's getting festive in the city of Abuja as well. And it's very interesting that whilst it is that we're getting ready for the season, we're also being given some food for thought. Yesterday, the Coca Center had a conversation which should get all of us thinking. I think it was the Cardinal John Onayekon, who posed the challenge to the National Peace Committee. I don't know how many of us are aware of the work of the National Peace Committee. I think it maintains a secretariat, or the Coca Center has been an integral part of the National Peace Committee, helping to, maintain a secretariat with them. But the National Peace Committee came into existence. I hope I'm not going to get the dates wrong, but at least I became quite aware of their work just before the 2015 elections. Everyone remembers how tense the 2015 elections were going to be and how a lot of people felt that whatever the outcomes were, we could be faced, we were on the brink. And the National Peace Committee did everything within its power to make sure that Nigeria didn't topple over in the aftermath of the elections. Speaking to the major candidates, particularly President Goodluck Jonathan at the time, and his main contender, President Muhammadu Buhari. He wasn't president then, he was General Muhammadu Buhari. And they were able to make both of them come to an agreement that whatever the results came out of that particular elections, they were going to accept it. And for the first time ever after the elections, an incumbent lost his seat, and he was able to telephone his counterpart, even before the final results were announced, to accept the results of that election. President Goodluck Jonathan was really hailed as, or is still hailed as, a hero of democracy, and has continued that work across different parts of the world, wherever it is he finds himself, particularly in Africa. And only recently, we all know that he was stuck in Guinea-Bissau. But I digress. Back home now, I think conversations have now started, especially in the wake of recent events, as to what else the National Peace Committee can be doing, because we know that all is not particularly well. This is supposed to be a season of peace. You know, when we enter the Christmas season, one of the things that they say is glory to God and peace on earth to people of goodwill. It hasn't quite panned out. And I think Cardinal Onayekon, who is a part of that peace committee, had a big challenge for his fellow members of the Peace Committee, saying that he doesn't think that they've done well enough. As a matter of fact, he did say that we have failed. And I think it's usually very, because he says the work we do with elections seems to have gotten worse and worse. And he was posing a challenge to his fellow members to see what more they can do to make sure that peace truly does permeate our land, especially as we continue to have discussions amongst ourselves, settler and indigene dichotomy, etc., etc. But whilst Ayo and I would like us to take a look at this report and, get the context in which they were speaking, I think it's also a moment for us to also challenge ourselves. We know that as individuals and as Nigerians, as countrymen and women, a lot of people have been unhappy with the current situation of things in the country. But there are questions as to, as individuals, what can we do? What can we contribute in our own little sphere to maintaining and promoting peace. Not the peace of the graveyard, that's not what we are advocating, but peace that comes from genuine discussions and fosters communal living where it is that we are. And I think it's something for us to ponder on this morning. But here's how the conversation went down at the Kuka Center yesterday.
A national dialogue on Nigeria's indigent settler question brought together political, religious, diplomatic and academic voices in Abuja to tackle one of the country's most enduring sources of division. The event, hosted by the National Peace Committee with support from the European Union and the Kuka Center, focused on how identity, origin and residency continue to shape citizenship and national unity.
Today, Nigeria has become a cauldron of tension, misery, trauma and desolation by a majority of our citizens who cannot enjoy the so-called sense of belonging, and they are constrained by circumstances, whether they be religious, whether they be ethnic, or whether they be gender. Unless we focus on the common citizenship, we shall continue to mourn, we shall continue to cry, we shall continue to carry our corpses, we can continue to bury our dead, singing dirges of hopelessness in vernacular.
The European Union stands resolutely with Nigeria in this noble pursuit, advocating for a robust framework of citizenship that transcends indigeneity, ensuring equal access to opportunities, resources and governance for all who call Nigeria home.
The keynote address focused on redefining Nigerian citizenship to rise above ethnic loyalties, sentiments and historical suspicions and embrace a truly inclusive national identity.
The current constitution that we are using cannot cut it and will not deliver. That instrument that we are going to come up with, even though we'll recognize the primacy and sustenance of indigeneity clauses, this must be in a manner that encourages mutual respect and intra-Nigeria migration.
Keeps increasing.
Panelists explore practical pathways for building trust among communities and for dealing with the root causes of exclusion, competition for resources, and a societal disconnect. In his closing remarks, John Cardinal Naikon reiterated that the National Peace Committee has struggled to achieve its mission, saying elections continue to decline in credibility despite years of intervention.
The NPC, National Peace Commission, we are still there, but I don't know. Because the major idea was that we will help to make sure that elections move better. Let me tell you, as a member of the NPC, we did not succeed at all. The elections got worse and worse. Maybe we have reached a stage now where we can face it that we are not running elections. And I don't know whether those in charge are ready to do any proper election in 2027.
The dialogue provided a platform for a deeper examination of Nigeria's national identity and the tensions driving insecurity across communities, with participants urging a new national consensus on what it truly means to be a Nigerian. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
That's a good time to even ask ourselves if all the fault lines that former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo just spoke about in one of his public appearances is even anything to go out on. For decades, even from the beginning of our unity as a nation in 1960, there has been that all those fractures always existed. But we cannot take away the benefits of the past. Because what caused the Civil War of 1966? Have we been able to track it? Because it would seem like even after the Civil War of 1966, between 66 and 67, 68, thereabout, have all the issues been resolved? And then we had a military government, and then a civilian government, and then a military government, and then a civilian government. We're still asking the question of identity, even in this meeting that the Kuka Center held. So those questions, Mark, I believe are very, very important for us to answer, to face. And, you know, we talk about insecurity and a whole load of stuff right now. For me, there's one word you used, Mark, when we started. You said conversations. We need to have conversations because at the end of every war, we have to judge all. So we need, as a people, individuals in the various communities, to tell ourselves some very, very hard truths. And I'm hoping that this, as my colleague said earlier, is a true wake-up call for all of us. I love it when elders come together and tell themselves the square truth. Look, we have not done well, or we have done well. Most of the people there who spoke at that event, as you can see, are quite elderly. They've seen the world. Now, it is our responsibility as a people, in the various communities, to build the fences and to mend the fences, to close ranks, to communicate, to have common understanding, mutual understanding, shared meaning. Because it's only then that we can have the kind of peace that Cardinal Onayekon is talking about in that meeting. In the meantime, there are a number of other issues that have caught our attention on Sunrise Daily this morning, and some of them are being addressed right now. One of them is what happened in Ogun State. Now what? Find out in this report.
The meeting at the Palace of the Ologijo in Shagamu local government area was at the instance of the Ogun State government and was held to keep residents up to speed with what government is doing to douse the tension caused by alleged lead poisoning.
Government are taking some steps.
Some traditional rulers, community leaders and youths are being enlisted as first responders in this advocacy engagement to strengthen information and communication about the development.
We pick you as leaders in the community. The CDC is a level of government. And from you, information will get to a street level. You are the one to tell the resident associations this information. You are free to record it, you are free to do whatever, so that play it for them. At street level, we don't want panic. We don't want panic. And the only thing they said is causing this problem is lead poisoning.
Our mission here today to allay the fears of the people of Ogijo, to let them know that the government is with them in this, and to make them aware that we have mobilized both national and international support. National in terms of NCDC and international WHO to support us in our response as a state to this emergency that is emerging in Ogijo community.
Some of the residents commend the government for the prompt response and request that factories conduct their operations according to international best practices.
Government is now showing will to act. The company has no choice but to respond. What we want is for them to comply with best practices so that the economic activities in Ogijo will not be negatively impacted. They will do the needful, they will still make their profits, and the people will have a healthy life.
The Ogun State government has been designated the Ogijo Primary Health Center for blood testing, while a laboratory is being set up to treat infected people free of charge.
All right, so just to provide context before I bring in the Commissioner for Environment who joins us now, just before now, a few weeks ago, a media house, an online media house, had brought to the attention of Nigerians about this lead poisoning that was happening in this environment, in Ogijo environment, as a result of the work of some factories there who were recycling battery parts. But as a result of that, many of their staff and even people within the community were getting lead poisoned. The commissioner has since intervened, or the state government has since intervened, shutting down the factory. But what we also heard before that time was that it wasn't the first time the factory was shut down. The factory had been shut down, it was reopened, and then, you know, the practices continued. But this time around, it was seen that there is a more comprehensive intervention to make sure that things are done better. So this morning, we're being joined by Mr. Ola Oresonya, who is the Commissioner for Environment in Ogun State. We saw him in that report at the Palace of the Ologijo of Ogijo. Thank you so much for joining us on Sunrise Daily this morning. It was quite alarming for us to see what it was that we saw in Ogijo, in the Ogijo community. But for a lot of people who are aware and who understand the challenges that come with being, I don't want to use the, let's use the word, a developing country, where we're now beginning to see more and more people delve into recycling, where we know that some of these parts that are found in some of these things, in some of these used parts, electronics, yes, and even battery parts can be reused. They know that there is a danger that comes with it, and it would seem that for the longest of times, we have turned a blind eye to these things. This might come as no surprise. For you, I mean, you have been in waste management as for a significant part of your life. I know that because I know that you also worked in Lagos State. And now you're Commissioner for Environment in Ogun State. What would you say has been the most remarkable discovery? What really sets this aside for you in terms of the pollution that this factory or this particular line of work represents?
Well, thank you, Mope, and thank you, esteemed listeners. Yes, what we saw, or what we are witnessing now, is the unending chain of a problem starting from a success. At every point of success, you always have imagined new challenge. And I think that is what is happening right now. Ogun State happens to pride itself as a center of recycling and in Nigeria right now, where we take, we've been preaching recycling, just like you mentioned. Yes, I've spent better part of my life in waste management, and recycling is one of the key things we've been promoting here in Nigeria, because most of the materials that are brought into Nigeria, yes, if you look at second-hand vehicle, second-hand TV, second-hand electronics, most of these things have expired, their half-life have expired. Even second-hand batteries and tires, they're all here in Nigeria. And most of these things, by the time they get to Nigeria, maybe after 3-4 years, their life expired. So what happened? Where did we dump them? That was the attraction for many of these recycling industries that are here right now in Nigeria. Why are they in Ogijo? Ogijo is close to Lagos. For most of these materials, yes, you have most of the bulk of the waste is in Lagos. Where they can treat them is here in Ogun State because they can ship them out. They have more land space in Ogun State. And Ogijo happens to be a space where many of these industries established themselves over 30 years ago. They've been there doing their thing quietly. But right now, what they've been doing quietly is having a health impact on our people. And that we're not folding our arms to ensure that we protect the life of our people.
Do you think that government intervention coming in about now, I don't want to say, is it too late? Because some people will say it's better late than never. But how do you see those? Because you say they've been in that business now for decades. How do you see them now conforming with whatever new standards and guidelines and regulations that government is going to come up with to try and keep people safe?
Well, an average industry will tell you it's very difficult for them to comply. But I want to tell you that we started this thing with them in the last 4 years. We've been with these people insisting on doing the right thing, otherwise we fold up. So, and I'm glad to tell you that out of about 8 of them that are here in Ogun State, 9, for example, only 9 industries are here in Nigeria. 8 of them are in Ogun State, 1 in Agbara, 2 around Mowe, and about 5 of them at Ogijo. And this is the headquarters in Africa, let me tell you that. So out of the 8 in Ogun State, at least 1 of them has 100% compliance. What's the compliance we are talking about? We're talking about reducing the human exposure to their process. all right, getting this process automated because of the hazardous nature of what they're handling. And they're making sure that their fumes, they capture their fumes. It's just two main components. Automate your battery cracking process and the fume collection system so that they are able to collect the fumes from the breaking of these batteries appropriately to precipitate these lead so that we don't allow the fume to get out. So one of those companies, 100% compliance. About one or two others are already in the process of having compliance, while the others are recalcitrant about it all. So all we needed to do then, the ultimatum we gave them expired in the middle part of the year, June, July. We wrote all of them in July, August, that we are coming for final audit report. And the final process audit report was to show that, look, these companies, you cannot operate, we have to give them a final slam. But because we've been carrying out studies and some other NGOs and international agencies, because we've been operating in a very transparent manner in the way we track this lead in soil, water, and air around Ogijo, among other things. So, yes, they went out to do the media hype in this age of social media. Well, no problem. But it is not because of that we are reacting now. We already have a process, a procedure to make sure we slam those who are not in compliance. So for the quick measure right now is to close everybody. And we're already doing our process audit again to be able to distinguish those who have already complied and those who have not complied. Those who have not complied, they are not going to be in business in Ogun State, or not anywhere in Nigeria, I'm sure, because we cannot allow them to continue to produce, to kill, to injure the health of our people.
What has made your intervention different this time around? Because we understand it's not the first time that this was brought to the attention of the Ogun State government. We understand that there was a time when this was brought to the attention of the government. The factories were sealed, but in no time they were reopened, and those people went on business as usual. But this time around, it would seem that you are taking it one notch higher. What exactly has led to that?
Well, this time around, we had to drop our own process and try to respond because the media hype has created a kind of panic. All right, and you can see the way everybody is like, see, when you go to Ogijo, everybody's falling down dead, or everybody in Ogijo has this pollution. No. So our response this time around, one, is to establish these facts. 70 people were tested before. This time around, we are enlarging the scope to 500, so that let people know the extent of vulnerability, if there are any, around the place. So we're going to publish it right now. Many of these things have been done, yes, at official level, though we've been carrying out the community leaders. We had several meetings at Ologijo Palace, and many of the community leaders have been running with us on this process at the federal level and at the community level. We've been relating. But this time around, yes, we have to let the world, it's now a global concern. Because when you talk about such a thing, it was, the news was released outside the country. So it's a global concern. So the entire globe needs to know that something is going on, and going on rightly too. So what we've done differently right now, which we shouldn't ordinarily, we should probably have separated the chaff from the wheat. But this time around, we are taking a sweeping order across all, until when everybody can verify and certify that these ones are in compliance, these ones are not in compliance. We have stopped. We have advised the federal government to stop the exploitation of ingot for now, so that even if, and let me tell you something, apart from these industries that are producing these lead ingot formally, there are a lot of artisanal producers also that are not registered elsewhere, that are doing this thing, are not captured, and that most of them have been exported because the appetite for the lead ingot is the dollars, is the value they get for it in the global market. And so we are putting a ban, a temporary ban. We have advised, we cannot ban, but we can advise the federal government to ensure that nobody is allowed to export this product, so that this exposure can stop until when we are able to clear the air that is it actually to what we have in the people's blood, is it up to 39 micrograms as stated in the media report? We will publish it. If it's up to that, then what mitigation measure are we going to put in place immediately right now? And if it's not as published. We also let the world know it's not as published, but however, compliance with the pollution abatement levels, pollution abatement process is not negotiable. Not negotiable. Some of the industries may never open again, while those who are in compliance will definitely continue to do their job, because we want our people to have work, but operate in a safe manner.
How can people trust whatever the outcomes of your research and your testing will be?
Well, what we're doing right now, yes, because I know the public is always very cynical when it comes to public issues. No doubt about that. And I think they don't owe any apologies for that. But then we should be seen to be above board. And what we've done for process audit, for the air, for the environmental audit, talking about the air, water, and the soil test, we have the academia, they're involved. University of Lagos is involved. The Federal University of Agric Abeokuta is involved. And we have the Obafemi Awolowo University. The Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agowoye. The professors there, they're all involved in this. So, and we have a professor of toxicology, a global world-renowned professor of toxicology, who is leading the team, and to make sure that this process is transparent and published worldwide. Then we have the Ministry of Health in Ogun State leading the team from the national body, NDCC, or the National Disease Control, and also the World Health Organization is involved in the health audit for this. And for the process audit, yes, we have international organizations who are with this. And we have the media working with us on the field. We've started on Tuesday, and the media is working with us. They're all there on the field with us. So everybody's seeing what is going on, almost in a very transparent way. So that the world, I'm sure the global community is waiting for our result, and we'll not disappoint them. We're telling them the true position of things.
All right, I know Ayo has questions for you. Ayo, over to you.
Thank you, Mark. Honorable Commissioner, just let me begin by asking this one. Was this preventable? Could it have been prevented?
Well, yes, if there was a knowledge about the regulatory control early enough. Don't forget I tell you that most of these industries are over 30 years they've been operating in that community, which was not originally designated as an industrial community. No, it was not an industrial community. It's people encroached. The industry got there, and people, most of their workers built houses around them. So with proper regulatory control of past years, probably it will have been prevented. But we don't have excuse now that we have proper regulatory control. We have the knowledge about it. That's why we are not leaving them. We've been on their case in the last few years.
Well, the reason I asked that question, Honorable Commissioner, is because, I know your work as an individual, particularly in the environment space and all of that. I'm asking that against the backdrop of the fact that first, it seems, just as you said, maybe no excuses. There have been some lapse maybe in the area of supervision and all. I'm just asking that question in case there are any such risks in any other communities around. Secondly, whether or not what happened in Ogijo could spread elsewhere.
Yeah. You're quite right. When we started, when this administration came in about 6-7 years ago, and we know our peculiarity in Ogun State as the industrial capital of Nigeria. Industrial capital of Nigeria. You have all the industries, most of the industries are here in Ogun State. One thing is that the vulnerability. Every industry comes with its own risk. Anywhere in the world, industrial cities come with their risk of pollution from the process. So what we did first in Ogun State was to do the vulnerability mapping for air, soil, and water pollution. And we have areas, cities of concern, centers of concern in Ogun State. Ogijo happened to be #1 in our city of concern in Ogun State. And what we do in those areas is to interrogate the extent of vulnerability. And in Ogijo, I will tell you, for example, lead fumes from metal recycling and from tire recycling, where you have many of these people using decompositions material, thermal decomposition materials. You have various levels of risk associated, and we've done the mapping across Ogun State. Agbara is there, the Flower Gate is there, and many of our cities, we are on top of it in Ogun State. And if you're interested, we'll be able to show you details of what we are doing to prevent all these pollutions. And we've trained our people to be above board in this area.
Well, it's an environmental issue, and one would wonder whether or not there's been significant interface and engagement with the people to ensure that they also get carried along. I mean, what we should recognize, Malpa and I were talking about us taking mutual responsibility together earlier. We should recognize that the government officials are just human beings as well. Some of the government officials may not be living in the environment. So are there plans or activities, and not just in Ogijo, but in various other communities, starting with this example that we're having on our hands, are there plans or strategies to give the communities a carry along so that they can see something, say something, as we say, and we are able to prevent such occurrences and save lives?
Well, the first level of prevention that we did when we did the mapping, the vulnerability mapping, was to discuss this with the governor. And we now have to do the urban renewal. Urban renewal areas are now redesignated in Ogun State. That is why when we came in, I think we met about 4 or 5 industrial layouts in Ogun State. Right now, we've expanded industrial locations, industrial parks in Ogun State. I'm sure we have more than 10 major industrial parks, apart from the EPZ, the export processing zones. Export processing zone 2 are areas where you have industry clusters, so that we will relocate most of these industries away from the mixed settlement to new locations where they need to move to. All right. For example, Ogijo is already on the table, on the discussion. Okay, and we're putting this across to the governor also. Some of these industries in Ogijo must leave that place, I mean, undoubtedly, to the new location. Many of the recycling industries there, these have been discussed with them. I'm sure many of them are listening to me now. The metal recycling industries, for example, they're already on that discussion table. Many of them may have to relocate to the new cluster, the industrial clusters, so that they can operate safely. So that's the first thing we are doing, to redesignate areas where you must have industry clusters so that pollution abatement devices can be better utilized in those areas. There are some abatement devices can be shared facilities. Talking about effluent treatment, rather than having individual effluent treatment plant, you can have a joint treatment plant where effluent can be treated centrally for all this, like we have in Agbara right now. So this is on the table to redesignate. Second, we are working seriously, like you heard from the clips that you showed earlier. We are working seriously with the CDA, the Community Development Associations. They are the first responders. They are the first responders. They have telephone number where they can call 24/7. Where they can call 24/7. If they see any pollution in their neighborhood, they call us. We have the helpline that are available. And we have a task force that will go to wherever there's pollution. I mean, overnight today, I see how somebody calling me about industries making noise overnight. Some of these industries, we have to ban them not to operate in the night because of the area, because of the noise level. So we are working closely with the CDAs who are getting across to us, giving us information, and I'm sure many of them are hearing me. They can tell you that we respond almost swiftly to most of their complaints. So these are the various levels that we operate. And if you go to our social media area also, on our X handle, I still was responding to some important complaint from Otta. Somebody was sending message. So we operate at various levels of information, interaction, gathering, and we respond swiftly also.
Do you think that this campaign can be extended to other states? Because it has happened in Ogun State, but we know that this is a problem that the country faces as a whole. This issue of recycling in a way that is safe, in a way that is healthy, in a way that protects the health of Nigerian citizens. Is it a campaign you intend to extend to other commissioners of environment, or perhaps to the federal level, who can in turn cascade it down?
Yes, thank you. Yes, we know that this is not just a subnational problem. It's a national thing. The aggregate of this is a national equation. So we're doing this with NESRA, who is a national regulatory agency. They are following us through on this. I'm almost with the DG NESRA on daily basis. They are looking at our protocol, the way we are doing it, and we are developing our templates. And we have a platform, all the commissioners in Nigeria. I'm on that platform. I'm also sharing this information with them so that the response and the kind of strategy, the institutional arrangement they need to put in place to checkmate all this kind of pollution, especially in the mining area and the rest of it. So that they can know this thing, track this pollution, and address it before it happens. And I'm working closely with my counterpart in Lagos, the Commissioner of Environment and Water Resources in Lagos. And we are establishing a joint action because most of these industries in Ogun State are located just at the borderline, the border towns between Lagos and Ogun. Whatever, if you are releasing fumes in Ogun, Lagos can be perceiving it, and everything can go to Lagos. We need to establish wind directions and how we both respond. So for Ogun State, it's all about Ogun and Lagos are operating jointly. The meeting we'll be having, we have a LASEPA, that's the Lagos Environmental Protection Agency team. They've been working with us on daily basis on these lead pollution allegations. So we are all using the lab, share information, and we're working together. So it's a national issue, not just Ogun State issue alone.
Oh, well, we certainly wish you all the best as you continue to work to keep not just Ogun and Lagos safe, but the entire country as well. We have to thank you for coming on Sunrise Early this morning. Mr. Ola Oresonya is the Commissioner for Environment in Ogun State. We'll take a break now. When we come back, security will be at the front burner again. This time around, we're going to be listening to somebody who is currently reported that, yes, some people were released in a kidnapping rescue effort, but they're yet to see some other members, and there's yet to be full accountability. We'll be hearing from them shortly after this break. Please stay with us.
This next conversation is a little heartbreaking, and more because many times when we talk about insecurity, it's just out there happening to some people. But when it comes close home, it's a whole new ball game altogether, and it doesn't leave any taste that you want to repeat in the mouth at all. That's the story this morning of Mr. Walter Emeribe, who is the husband of one of the kidnapped victims of the abduction of 6 defense ministry directors, where we understand that the abductors are demanding a ransom of 150 million naira. Mr. Emeribe is here with me. Good morning, and thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for having me.
What exactly happened, and what brought you here?
So actually, it was a case of abduction, which involved my wife, Mrs. Chinwe Adeline Emeribe, and some of our colleagues who are staff of Ministry of Defense going to Abuja for promotional exam to the Directorate cadre. So they boarded the vehicle owned by Andy's transport company at First Gate in First Stack here in Lagos on the 9th of November, which was Sunday. So they left the transport company's park or terminal at about 7:46 in the morning to Abuja. So the bus, it was a 14-seater bus they boarded. So getting to Kaba, like we heard in the news, getting to Kaba, Lokoja Highway, they were abducted. And since then, I've not had anything from my wife. I've not heard her voice. I've not seen her, and nobody called me.
November 9, is that, you say November 9?
Yes, November 9.
Today is December 3. That's almost a month ago.
Yeah, almost a month. Almost a month, sir. You are right.
How did you know it happened at Kaba?
So like I said, my wife left. I took her to the park.
Okay.
That's a fateful day. So I was there until the bus departed for Abuja before I now went home. So when it was around 1:30 p.m., I called to know how the journey was progressing. When I called, she responded and told me that they were at Akure. So in my conversation with her, I told her that if you are at Akure by 1:30, the journey has not started, because the journey from Lagos to Abuja is far away, it's a distance. So for you to be at Akure, the journey has not started. Now whatever happens, take good care of yourself. God will be with you in the journey. And I inquired if the vehicle had any problem on the way, whether kind of fault or so. Did it develop any fault or so? He said, no, the vehicle was moving well. I said, okay. So, well,
so was it the transport company, or who told you that the abduction happened?
That's where I'm coming to now. Okay. So when I called around 1:30, after that discussion, then around 4 p.m. I called again. I could not hear anything from her. All her lines, her Airtel line and MTN, mostly the Airtel was ringing. Each time I called, it would ring, but no response. The MTN, all I'll be hearing is not reachable. So I continued up to midnight. From midnight again, I continued calling at intervals up to 5 a.m. I did not sleep. So getting to 6 a.m. on Monday. So I called, I didn't hear anything. So I became somehow afraid. I became jittery. So at a point that Monday morning, I think that should be going to 7 in the morning, I went to the company's office to ask them what actually happened, because my wife that went to Abuja through their boss the previous day, I did not hear from her. I called all through the night till daybreak. I didn't hear from her. So that's why I came to know from you people what happened. I hope all was well. So what I heard from one of the ticket clerks there was that their vehicle was kidnapped, that they were kidnapped at Kaba in Kogi State. So that's how I came to know about that.
Have you heard anything from the Ministry of Defense to whom they were going? Are they aware of this abduction?
Actually, nobody from Ministry of Defense has contacted me. Nobody told me anything. Rather, what I did was, after hearing from the transport company, so I now called the primary place of her work assignment, which is a Command Secondary School, Ojo, in Ojo Military Cantonment. So I called the school to find out from them if they are aware that their staff who they sent on official assignment were kidnapped at Kogi State. So they said yes, that they have been told, and that their commandant is running around, that he's on it. So that was all I heard from the defense. So since then, nothing again. Up until 3 or 4 days ago, 3 days ago, I went to defense office in Moloni, around behind the race course or TBS, Tafawa Balewa Square. So I went there to find out from them what they had been doing since November 9th that this incident took place. So when I got there, I was told that I have to go to Yaba, Hans Barak, because their unit is under Nigerian Army Education Corps. So that I have to go to Yaba, Hans Barak. That is where my complaint has to be channeled. So that I did by going to Hans Barak to complain. So when I got there, the commander who was in charge was not on seat. Rather, his deputy was the one that attended to me and the other victim's family. So we are told that they have been on it, and that.
So what are the hopes? What are the things that they have told you about whether or not they have been released, or they will be released?
No, what they told me when I got there was that they have been on it, and the letter had that they have been released. So I told them that yes, we had they've been released. That was why.
How did you hear that they would be released?
Yeah, I heard it in news. About 2 television stations mentioned it, that they have been released. The 6 directors of Ministry of Defense who were on their way to Abuja for a promotion exam, but we have abducted, have been released and reunited with their families. So when I heard this, I was not happy. I felt bad. I said, oh, why would this news come from the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Ministry of Defense? And this statement was made by their president, by name, Mr. Mohammed Shehu.
Okay.
So I was not happy with that. I said, if they have released the 6 women, where is my wife? And where is the other woman, Mrs. Juliana Onwuzurike?
Well, the news we also heard is that some of them have been released, but it just so happens that maybe your wife was not among.
Yeah, but the initial news I had was that 6 of them have been released. And that was what prompted my going all around to ask them, if they have released the 6, where is my wife? And the other family too. We've been working hand in hand. So they've been going wherever we go to ask, they are there too. It's unfortunate the man is not here today because he's not feeling fine. Otherwise, he's supposed to have come. So we've been going around asking them, where is our wives? So at the end, we were told that 4 people were released. And these 4 people are nowhere to be seen to tell us exactly what happened. While the 2 women, our wives, were not part of those who were released.
I think my colleague in Abuja, Mawpe, would like to ask you 1 or 2 questions as well. Go ahead, Mawpe.
Indeed, Mr. Emeribe, my heartfelt commiserations, because I can only imagine what trauma you've been through in the last 1 month, waiting for the return of your wife and having to go round by yourself. I mean, it ought to be the other way around. You ought to have been informed by members of staff of the ministry where your wife worked as to what exactly had become of her, and to be offered support and help, not the other way around. But clearly, that hasn't happened, and you are the one who is having to prod for information. From what you have said now, the fact that, I cannot call it a fact, or the idea that, people were released, some women were released, have you been able to confirm through any means whatsoever that these 4 women were actually released? Has any family been able to confirm that indeed their wives or their mothers were released to them?
Yes, the 4 women alleged that they have been released. Actually, they've been released because I have called one family Mrs. Helen Ezako's husband. When I heard that they've been released, I called him rather, to find out if his wife is back, because he was with us all the time. We have been running around trying to see what to do. Even when the company invited us to come, that there's need for us to pay ransom, so all of us were together running around. I called him to ask to find out. He said yes, he heard that his wife had been released, but he had not seen him. He has not seen his wife, but all he knows is that she has been released. But along the way, when she was coming, that the brothers came and took her to the hospital. Then the other person amongst them, Mrs. Essien too, the brother confirmed to us that she had returned. Likewise, one other person too, Mrs. Ngozi Ibeziako, the relatives too said she has been released, that she's back, but in the hospital. Then the driver who went to rescue them, or who went to bring them after they were released from the company, the Andy Lee's transport company, who met him the day they said they have been released. When he came back to their park, we met him and asked. He said he dropped another one, Mrs. Ladoye, at Ebado. So based on this, we have concluded that the 4 of them have been released.
What exactly is your plea now? Because I can only imagine where you are mentally. And I know that what you're also seeking is clarity. What exactly has transpired? What was the circumstance under which the other women were taken away? Under what circumstance, were they released? What is the fate of your wife? Who precisely are you directing your plea to, and what precisely are you asking of them?
Thank you very much. What I am actually requesting now is that Ministry of Defense should tell me where my wife is. They should, because she was sent on official assignment, and up to now, they have not come out to tell me where my wife is after the abduction, and these 4 have been released. So I want them to tell me, where is my wife? Whether she's dead or alive, they should come out and tell me. Otherwise, I don't know what else to do. So if it requires they are going to Kogi State to search for my wife, whether she is dead, like I said, or alive, they should do that. I've not seen them taking any proactive measure. So all I want from them is let them come out and see a way of bringing out my wife, wherever she is, together with Mrs. Juliana Onwuzurike, the 2 of them who are nowhere to be seen. And at the same time, they should reach out to this transport company that took these women to Abuja. With this transport company, they are hiding. They don't want to come out to tell us exactly what happened, because there's need for them to tell us so that we know our stand. The police, on the other hand, is trying to shield them. The company, this Andy Lee's company, the director, most of the times when we call, he does not pick our calls. Sometimes you make attempt to reach him in the office, he will be nowhere to be seen.
It's very, very important for all of these agencies, all these interested parties to speak to this issue. Otherwise, the allegations and the uncertainties will just continue to increase. It's the Federal Ministry of Defense, and now that we have a new Minister of Defense incoming, let's hope that something drastic and quickly will be done to resolve the issue. Thank you so much for your time this morning, and we can only wish you Godspeed. We can only pray that God will help you, to hold on while all of this, continues. Walter Meribe is a husband of Mrs. Chinwe Adeline Emeribe, who was kidnapped along with 5 others, staff of the Ministry of Defense. We appreciate your time again.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's the show this morning. Thank you for the privilege of being a part of your morning. I'm Ayo Makinde. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Well, thank you for watching. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf. On top of the hour is Business Morning.